Hi everyone! Today, for today's video, I thought it would be good to kind of revisit some indie palettes that I haven't featured as much or haven't featured enough. So in light of all that being said, Menagerie did announce they're going to be restocking some stuff, so I'm gonna try and get Flight Club again. I missed like all the other restocks, but I'll try this time for sure. And she also announced a new kind of sugar glider collection. I love sugar gliders. I used to want to own one, and then I realized very quickly that I would never take good enough care of one, so I just settled to admire everyone else's. I actually never got around to filming with the Killer Purr eyeshadow palette like I freaking said I would. I'm like the worst YouTuber ever. So I'm gonna do a look using this, and you guys can use this to kind of help decide for yourselves if you want it. I think she's restocking it like it's either she's restocking it one more time or she's just restocking it like a very small number of times before it's being retired, because she did announce that this palette is going to be discontinued along with some of her other palettes. So first I'm just gonna mess around with some primers. I still am kind of messing around with the primers that I have. I'm not so sure what I think about them yet, so continuing to test. I really want to test out these primers with foundation that hasn't expired on me. If you saw my recent videos, my woes with Designer Lift, that kind of made me just, I was so bitter about that. So I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna use a different foundation today, one that I know that I like. So right now I'm using the SMASHBOX Photo Finish Primerizer Hydrating Primer. I have just a mini of this. However, I don't know, it's a little bit too watery, too thin for my tastes, so I don't think I'm gonna go through with buying this. I'll just use up the mini and call it a day. And then I'm just gonna use my under eye primer as usual. Alright, so today I'm going to go in with the KVD Balm foundation. I haven't used this in a while, I haven't brought it up in a while, but I have mentioned before that I do actively enjoy it, so I'm just going to use it today. And I am using a brand spanking new beauty blender. I definitely feel like the pink one is different than the other two colors that I have that were on sale on previous 21 Days of Beauties, so I'm very glad to have a nice new one. I bought 3, and I love this KVD foundation because I can put on very little and I get a full coverage out of it. I feel like that really just kind of helps make my skin look more natural while also still being completely covered, because I like full coverage. I want my skin to look absolutely perfect. Like I want K-pop idol skin. Yeah, so on top of this primer, I do feel like this foundation pulls more matte, and there's like a very, very slight dryness to it that is easily resolved with setting spray. So this primer definitely isn't bad. I just feel like it could be better is kind of my stance on it currently. I have my eye on a couple of Korean ones right now. I don't know how skin smoothing those would be, but I'm sure they'd be pretty hydrating. I used the triple concealer, by the way. Nothing is new there. I do like that one very much. But yeah, as you can see today, my skin is not looking flaky or peely or patchy like it did with the Armani foundation. That one literally just straight up expired on me, which is like, how cruel can you be? I guess that's just the way it goes sometimes. So I'm gonna use my D'Alba setting spray, just kind of get rid of all that dryness, and I'm gonna use the SHISEIDO loose powder here. I've used this before. I use it on and off. I mean, I don't use it like super often, but I don't ignore it either. I've had it for a while now. It's one of the first powders I ever bought, just because I used to be like a stickler for SHISEIDO makeup only. But I'm just gonna powder the center of my face. Just like that. It's a nice powder. I really like it. It kind of reminds me of that Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom one, which advertises itself as like a super pinky powder. The SHISEIDO one has a pink tone to it, but it's nowhere near as pink as the Huda one. I used to have the Easy Bake powder in like one of their more normal shades. I kind of want the Cherry Blossom one because pink would be a really great color for my under eyes, but it's out of stock right now, so whatever. I didn't realize it would sell out so quickly. Okay, so since I am going to be using indie shadows, I'm going to use a stickier eye base, so I'm going to use my Revolution Prime and Lock. I think if Ulta ever has a sale, I'm probably going to go ahead and rebuy the Fenty eye primer. I know it sounds so dumb, but I feel like at the time that I got rid of it, I was still learning about primers. I was still learning a lot about what my eye primer preferences were, and I was learning a lot about my eyelid type. And now that I know more, I kind of regret getting rid of it. You definitely are more than welcome to judge me. And then if I get rid of it again, I can definitely be like, I can definitely slap myself in the face and be like, okay, now you are never buying it again. Okay, so I'm gonna let that settle for a little while. I did put on a little more than normal, so a nice thick can of blank canvas on my eyelids. So I'm going to contour first, and because I'm using Killer Purr, which is a very beautiful warm palette, I'm going to go in with WESTMAN Atelier Biscuit. It's a little bit warmer than Terra, so this will work perfectly for what I want, and I didn't powder the outside of my face because I wanted to use a cream contour product today. Okay, so I'm just gonna use this brush here. This is a Laura Lee brush from one of her sets. I have her first set that she released and I actually really enjoy it. I do want to pick up her second set, but I just never got around to it. Alright, so you can see subtle contour, not very much. I like this kind of contour for right now, and I'm just gonna use Brow Blade in Dark Drapes. My NYX brow pen is starting to change color, and so I'm kind of irritated because I really like it, but its longevity seems to be pretty poor. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back and buy Brow Flick from Glossier, because that was kind of the OG brow pen that I really liked. That was kind of the original brow pen I used, and I really liked it, and it also lasted a really long time. So, and Tara Babies noted a similar thing happening when she talked about it, so I'm not the only one. I actually think it would be really on brand for Cosmetics to release a brow pen. I need to blend out this brow a little bit. It's a little bit messy. I feel like I was able to keep them thinner today. I did trim them recently and that helped a lot because now the hairs don't come so far down, which is good. This is a good brow day actually, I'm really proud of this. So now it is a good time that we can start working on the eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna dig into this. I'm not sure what I want to do yet, so I feel like I've been doing a lot of green lately, so I don't know. I'm probably not going to use this shade because admittedly this shade feels a little out of place anyways, but I could use the earthier shades. I'm not sure yet, so I'm just gonna mess around and we'll just have some fun with this. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna start off with Cub, which is this shade here, and Menagerie's formula is pretty pigmented and their shadows do generally have a not insignificant amount of kick up in the pan, so when using them just definitely be prepared to tap off the excess so you don't get fallout, and be prepared for, especially when using the darker colors, to get a pretty significant amount of laydown and opacity on your eyelid that you'll then want to make sure you can blend out. I personally feel like if you're not using something like Killer Purr, if you're using something particularly like Whale Song or Indigo Ink, you actually will want to go from dark to light instead of light to dark so that you can really blend the mattes as you go. That's kind of my personal take on Menagerie and a lot of indie formulas that trend towards being so pigmented, is that you might actually prefer to work dark to light, because if you layer on too many mattes, you're going to start getting to a point where the eyeshadows start failing to adhere very well and you're going to start seeing some patchiness. Okay, so I'm going to use the Hunt. I really want to use this shade. Just like a burnt orange, it just really calls to me. For these, both of these shades, I've been using the Sonia G Crease Pro. It was just the first brush that I grabbed for. I'm just gently winging it out like that. So far my eyeshadow is looking pretty gentle, and I actually really like that. And then I just put what was left on the brush underneath, like that. I think I could probably tier her palettes in terms of formula quality for you guys pretty easily. If you ever want to see a video like that, just let me know. Like, just in terms of formula quality, I do have some of her palettes I really like, and other palettes I find more difficult to use for sure. Generally speaking, the mattes are very pigmented and the shimmers are extremely foiled. So her shimmers are absolutely beautiful. The only exception, curiously, is that I find a lot of the shimmers in Serenity to be okay. They're very powdery. And I emailed her asking about it. I was like, did I get a defect or was this just a formula thing? And she said it was a formula thing. So I found that to be a very interesting decision, to make some of the shimmers in Serenity feel really powdery. Obviously, I am not an eyeshadow maker, so I'm not gonna like go around criticizing and being like, oh, they shouldn't have done that, because who knows what goes into making an eyeshadow. But I found it a little difficult to use. Can't say I enjoyed it. So these are the eyeshadows I've laid down so far. Really nice. And because of the nature of these shades, obviously these blend out easy peasy pie, which is, you know, about what I would expect. So I'm gonna go into Mighty Roar. I want to use this to kind of just do a vertical gradient across my eyelid. and hopefully I don't blow it out too far because like I really want to be able to keep my eyeshadow. I want to like have it tighter. I like the look I'm going for right now. So I'm gonna change over to a small brush. So I'm going to use the REPHR 26. This brush is the REPHR 03 but fatter. Mighty Roar is a dark purple with a very slight, it's a dark brown with a very teeny weeny hint of dark purple. So it's, I don't know, it seems kind of odd to pick to match with these warm shades, but I'm just using this to add depth. Pushing this kind of like this across the lash line. And if I like actually planned my looks in advance, I probably would have put this shade down first because I'm kind of getting that thing where I feel like it is starting to not stick super well, and so then it, you know, falls on my face instead. But you can kind of see how it just adds that depth to my eyes. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too extreme with it. I know this is a really intense palette, but I'll do more looks with this, I promise. I'm definitely gonna make sure it's in the queue. I'm gonna do another 2 looks with this, and then I'll do more crazy looks in that video. I had a bit of a long day today, and I think I did more physical activity than I really should have. I feel kind of swollen. I definitely feel my belly definitely looks super pregnant. I've noticed if I exert myself too much, my swollen belly comes back in full force just because the inflammation just kind of gets reignited, and so when you're inflamed, a lot of water gets drawn to that area to help facilitate healing. I was browsing some hysterectomy forums, and like they literally, like, it's just called swelly belly. You get swelly belly, and as you recover, it goes away. I guess I just really wish I had a flatter stomach. Not that I would anyways, because I'm like kind of chubby. So yeah, I definitely need to stop getting bit by the organization bug because I'm probably pushing myself a little too hard. Alright, so I'm gonna take my Sonia G crease brush, and I'm just going to use the same shade and just kind of start letting it climb up a little bit so that it's more visible when my eyes are open, and then the other pigments that are already on this bristles will kind of just blend everything out for me. Kind of like that, so I'm creating a very soft, easy gradient. Definitely not necessarily a revolutionary look from an indie brand. This is a very soft look to be using a Menagerie palette for, but I just wanted something pretty. Yeah, so you can see that I created a small amount of depth, not too much. Okay, so there's actually only 2 shimmers in this palette. It's a very matte heavy palette. This was kind of marketed as Menagerie makes a neutral palette. That's kind of how this was marketed, which is why the colors are laid out the way they are. And personally, I think honestly it's really pretty, and the mattes are definitely really nice. So because everything's so earthy toned, the mattes I've used so far, I feel like they have been so easy to use, especially in comparison to like Whale Song in particular. But so the 2 shimmers are here, and I feel like these 2 shimmers are so redundant. She could have replaced either one of these with either a light shimmer or a dark shimmer. I definitely kind of wish there was more variety between these two because they are so similar. But I'm gonna use Prowl over here. I'm gonna use this kind of just all across the eyelid. I might be using a brush that's a little too thin because it's kind of not picking up very much at once, but okay, I'm switching to a different brush because this is actually a lip brush. I just realized I'm dumb. Alright, I'm gonna use the butt end of an Urban Decay Naked palette brush. It's has a little bit more kind of thickness and substance to it. There we go, much better. Menagerie shimmers do look the best with your finger, I will say, particularly their super creamy ones. Always look the best with a finger. I'm trying to be precise about where it goes, so that's why I'm using a brush right now. And I am gonna go in to my makeup collection for an inner corner highlight, so don't mind that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm putting it, just focusing it really on the top part, and then I'm gonna just put a little bit on the lower lash line as well. Yeah, generally speaking, if Menagerie's shimmers feel very creamy to the touch, they are so lovely to use. It doesn't particularly matter what you use, finger or brush, they're gonna look really nice. And I really only have ever encountered her powdery shimmer formula in Serenity. All of her other shimmers, like in Feral even, were so nice. So Serenity, I have it, and I'm probably not going to get rid of it anytime soon because I do love buying collabs where I can see just the amount of art and thought and meaning put into it. I do love buying those and holding on to them just as collector's pieces, but I don't really find myself liking Serenity as much as I thought I would, and I hate saying that, but that's just my honest opinion on that palette. Collabs really start feeling like works of art to me, and then I want to hold on to them because they're art. Okay, so you can see here how I've laid down the shimmer. It looks so nice. And I feel like I can go ahead and put Lioness on the outer part just for fun. So I'm going to use Lioness too because why not? So I'm just going to flip the brush over and use the other side. And I'm curious to see what kind of formula Lioness is. So far it seems similar to Prowl where it's very creamy. And again, I'm just floating this above my gradation. And I'm gonna try and keep it on the outer portion of my eyelid, but I'm not gonna blow it out past the mattes. But again, using these both on the eyelid, there is so little difference between them. I absolutely think that either Prowl or Lioness could have been replaced by something much lighter or much darker. They are very pretty, that is true. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small brush, my REPHR 13. This is like my favorite brush these days for really just making sure my edges are diffused because I have small eyes. And I'm going to be using this shade to make sure all of my edges are nice and touched up. So I'm just going to make sure everything is nice and touched up, and also I just want to make sure that the warmth of this look can come through even towards the edges of the look. Kind of like that, so you can really see the yellow pulling everything together. I'm going to use this on the outer part of my lower lash line. Things are nice and blended, and you can see how that really adjusts the tone of this look. So particularly this left eye was a little bit on the messy side, so I'm really making sure I try and get it a little more diffused. Yeah, like that. So you can see how the yellow just kind of adds a fringe to the look. Looks a little more blended out now. I cannot stress how similar the two shimmers in this palette look to each other. I am now gonna go back in with more of Mighty Roar. I'm just gonna see if I can deepen it up just a little bit because I did cover it up a little bit. So this is gonna be what the eye look is looking like. It is actually, like, structurally, it's a little bit different than what I usually do, and I think that's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna use false lashes because of course I am. These are their version 2.0 lashes in Cloud 9, so they look like this. They're really pretty actually. I'm like trying to make sure it stays in focus, but that's what they look like. Okay, I might have trimmed off too much off of this eye. Oopsie doopsies. I might have accidentally trimmed these like I trimmed my Ardell's. They still look really nice though, like you can still see the difference. Lashes are on and I hope they don't pop off in the middle of this video, but if they do, I guess you guys will see it. I think it could use some eyeliner, and I don't have any brown liquid eyeliner, sadly. So I'm just going to take my CLIO Gelpresso liner in the shade 01. Yeah, I'm just gonna use that and hope my edges are nice and pointy. I feel like I've gotten pretty good at drawing pointy wings with gel liner. And as you can see, as usual, I don't angle it up, I just angle it out. And then if I kind of mess it up a little bit on the left eye, which does happen before it dries, I'll just kind of drag it out and then it'll be nice and sharp. I really am trying to like keep my videos under 25-20 minutes, but they always end up getting really long. I always end up running my mouth. I'm gonna use Lash Freak, just the first mascara I grabbed from my tub of mascaras. For being non-waterproof, this mascara, Lash Freak, I think is the hardest to remove out of all of them, so I might be doing myself a disservice because I'm gonna have to remove this tonight, but whatever. I find it looks alright. I don't think I'm gonna ever rebuy it. The wand is really nice for like my tiny little eyes though, actually. I do like the wand a lot. And as it's aged, it's gotten drier and now it looks a lot nicer. I am going to go in with a beige. I know, I'm so predictable. It's gonna be the Pastel Cushion Blusher from the Face Shop. The packaging looks like this. It's the cardboard and the shade looks like this. It's a little bit on the rosy side, really nice. But yeah, I've thought about getting rid of it multiple times, but my mom got it for me as a gift when we were in Riley Rose, which RIP does not exist anymore. So it's also kind of sentimental. So I don't know if I'll ever get rid of it, just because anything my mom has ever gifted to me in terms of makeup, because she's like surprisingly supportive of me having a YouTube channel. So whenever she gifts me a little teeny weeny little makeup thing, just kind of like try and show how supportive she is of me, I feel like I want to keep it until I die. Like, I have some makeup products in my collection that I only own because they remind me of my dad's artwork, and I hold on to them strictly because of that reason. And again, I'm not going to get rid of them because when I look at them they remind me of my dad's artwork. So I kind of just focused it mostly under my eyes, as you can see. And then I am going to brighten up the inner part of my face just a little bit because I feel like my face is looking, I don't know, it just kind of feels like it could use a little bit of brightness. I'm gonna go in with this shade here. It's called Cotton Nude. It's one of the new PERIPERA shades. There are 2 new ones that are super pink as part of their pink collection, but as far as I can see, I have not seen it available for sale in any reseller that I can get a hold of, so I don't actually think I have access to it yet. I've definitely seen swatches of it on Instagram from Korean influencers who are buying it, from Korean influencers and creators who are, you know, living in Korea and can actually buy it on release. And I do see the new lip shades in their kind of dewier formula, and I really want those, but I haven't actually seen the blushes available anywhere yet. I've been checking Beauty Box Korea, but if I see them, I'm going to pick them up because I do really like this formula and the pink shades look delightful. So I just kind of put it on the inner part of my face just to kind of blend out the blush a little bit, add a little bit of brightness, and that's going to be that for the blush. As I've said many times, I don't know what color to wear with yellow eyeshadow. When I do yellow eyeshadow, my blush is just always kind of a whiff, but can't go wrong with beige. I really would like to use Ray Rider, I think. It's very yellow, right? Yeah, I'm gonna use Ray Rider from KALEIDOS. I actually really like them, and some of the more unique colors, like the blues and the green ones, definitely are worth looking into. I know Game Beauty just released some highlighters that are colorful as well. I'm not currently planning on buying them just because I have these. I did also recently get, the Odin's Eye colorful highlighter palette, and I have some of the BH ones, so no plans from me. But they look lovely, so I'm sure if you wanted to get them, you could and you'd like it. I've never used anything from Game Beauty. I strongly have considered multiple times the Victory palette because it has that blue-orange color scheme that gets me, but I just haven't really had the money for it yet. I'm also going to use this on my inner corner as my inner corner highlight so that we can just be cohesive there. Really pretty. This is still a pretty wearable highlight, but it has that slight golden tone to it that makes it look really nice. I feel like a better yellow highlight might have been that pale gold from the Dior Quad, now that I think about it. But I keep putting that Dior Quad in places where I forget it exists, and I need to put it in places where I see it because I do really like it and I need to use it more. I like being able to see everything I own, and that makes things so complicated when it comes to storing everything. I ordered this a really long time ago, but when they shipped my order, they forgot to ship this, so they reshipped it. And it's the BUXOM Powerline Plumping Lip Liner in Bold Beige. So the plump line lip liner that you guys have seen me use multiple times, the old-fashioned pencil formula, this actually is no longer available. You can't get this anymore, which is a shame because honestly, these are really nice. I really like the 2 that I have, but it appears this is kind of their renewal of this. I don't follow BUXOM, so I'm not sure. It even has a brush on the back, just like the old ones did. That's why I feel like, to me, it just feels like a repackaging or product renewal. Retractable is more convenient. It is a triangle shaped tip. I'm gonna put that on my lips. I'm gonna see how I like it. I'm not sure what I think about a triangle shaped tip, but I'm always down to try everything. Okay, this is definitely a concealer lip colored liner. This might be almost too light for me to use. I'm going to get a different shade of this that is darker. Even on the back of my hand, it didn't look this light. Wow. Yeah, you can really see the concealer lip effect it's giving me there. Very interesting. I don't know if I like lining my lips with a shade quite this light. So I'm going to use the Shuyu Mora and Hello Kitty lipstick. Very cute packaging right here. You can see the Hello Kitties on them. However, I do love this formula, and I really wish I could afford Shuyu Mora lip products because I totally get more if I could. This is such a wonderful formula. So I'm going to blend it into the lip liner a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if this shade of lip liner is going to be it for me. And the Korean gradation where you conceal your lips and then put lip product only on the inside is definitely not a trend that really I see people do a lot of anymore, and that's what this color would be leaning towards. So this lip color is a little bit too rosy for the eyeshadow, but I'll make it work. So I'm just going to take this lip brush and diffuse it a little bit more. Yeah, lining with this color, I think it's a little too light even for me. I think I'll step down a couple shades if I want to buy it again. Interesting. Okay. I'm a little disappointed. I shouldn't have picked that one. But okay, so this is gonna kind of be the finished look. Ignore how weird my bangs look because I put the bang curler on wrong, I guess. I need a different bang curler. I don't like the one I have right now. But this is gonna be the finished look. So I hope you guys enjoyed me playing around with this palette, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe this will help you kind of make a little bit of a purchasing decision. I didn't use the greens, so I'm sorry about that, but you gotta see me use the other shades. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate, these two metallics are super close together. If that's a deal breaker for you, totally understand. But the mattes are lovely and I've had a really great experience with them so far. And so if you're looking for a neutral palette with Menagerie's formula, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I will say Menagerie shadows stain like no one's business. I don't expect these shades to stain because they're neutral, but her other shadows in her other palettes like Whale Song, Indigo Ink, even some of the pastels in Pastel Pup stain. And the Pastel Pup one doesn't stain too bad because it's pastel. But if you use Whale Song or Indigo Ink, you will see it on your eyelids tomorrow. And it scares the heck out of you and it feels really inconvenient. So just be prepared for that. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back with more content. I'm gonna try and get back into my eyeshadow queue. I just really wanted to film some easier videos. Bye bye!